I've decided that I'd like to install a turn signal kit, really a street legal kit, more is what it ought to be called, on our 2020 Polaris Ranger Crew 1000 Premium. A friend of mine installed a WD Electronics street legal kit on his 2020 Polaris General, and I'm really impressed with the quality of it, so I've decided to install the same kit on my 2020 Polaris Ranger. And here's a glance at everything included in the kit. I have to say, it all looks and feels very high quality, like something you would see as original equipment on the machine. This is what it looks like under and behind the dashboard. The blinker switch easily attaches to this bolt and nut right here that attaches the piston to the steering column. And then we ran the wires right through here back into the dash right there. In order to connect the tail lights, lift the bed and you'll find what you need right here, the wiring harness, and then we're going to put in the WD Electronics part right now. The white plug will be used to connect the license plate holder, and the other two pieces there will be used to connect to the module up front. In order to install the turn signal indicator lights in the dash, I chose to drill holes here and here using a 3/8 drill bit, and then you've got to come in and out a few times and kind of waller out that hole just a little bit, which is because it's too snug, just barely too snug for these to go into, and that's okay if you kind of waller that hole out just a little bit with your drill bit. And then I used an X-Acto knife to clean up the edges of the hole on the front and on the back so that that nut can tighten down. Then it will slip in nice and snug into the hole. On the back, use a 12mm end wrench to tighten up the nut. Don't go too tight, of course, on both of those, and then attach the wiring harness. I chose to install the module right there so that in the future, if I remove this panel, which is really easy, I'll have access to the plugs right there. You can also see that I used zip ties to organize everything in such a way that it won't be moving around while we're driving down the road. There's the wire that runs over to the turn signal stock, and all the rest of the wires go out here, and I'll show you where those go. I used a couple, I put 2 holes down here, and I used bolts and wing nuts, and then I also put Gorilla Tape underneath this. So it's held on down here to this flat panel by Gorilla Tape, and then I've got 2 bolts with wing nuts here. And they're low profile, so you don't see much right there. Here's how it looks under the hood. You've got the power coming to here. The horn comes to here, and I chose to mount it here. The turn signals up front, one goes to there, and I put it along the top of the headlight, and I attached it with silicone. The other one goes to here. Time will tell if the silicone holds. That's where it is located on both sides. That's how it looks under the hood. Then I've got this wire that runs everything in the back of the machine, and I followed this power wire all the way to the back of the machine. I'll show you that now. As you can see, this was really easy to do. I reached my arm back in there and fished it back. There's a large opening in there, and I was able to just fish it without even using a wire right back, and then access it here under the seat. It came out right there. So I've got it zip tied along here, held in place, and I was able to just feed it under there by hand. Here we are under the back seat. Again, just kept following the factory wiring location. I've got it zip tied along through there. I'll show you where it goes from there. Here you can see that same wire coming up, following factory wiring. I've got it attached, tried to keep it on the cool side away from the engine. There it is under there, all the way back to where it plugs into the rear of the machine. There you can see where I ran it. Wrapped it with electrical tape, drilled a hole here. I was able to take the tailgate apart. I've got 3 of the supplied screws holding it here to the tailgate, and it's wired in. I had to make another hole here just above that one for the wiring to go through, but it turned out really nice and it works great, and it stayed pretty low profile. The tailgate still works just like it's supposed to.